there, everybody. It's Ellen Weatherford.
And Christian Weatherford.
And this is Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast, where we rate your favorite animals out of 10 in the categories of effectiveness, ingenuity, and aesthetics.
We are not zoological experts, but we try our best to bring the best and most accurate information that we can.
And this week, I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit short and sweet. This week, I only have 3 pages of notes. So hopefully we'll come in at a reasonable amount of time, mostly because I have to get my wisdom teeth taken out this week. So I'm not going to be up for a ton of legwork. Well, when people are listening to this, I will have already had them taken out. But as we're recording this, I have not yet. So that's going to be a really fun experience for me. Mm-hmm. Anyone who's had their wisdom teeth out will know that that's a roaring good time.
-1 to the wisdom ability.
Yeah, it's a debuff, a permanent debuff. Is it at least a trade-off? Do I at least get some sort of bonus or something?
Reduced carry weight by...
by what, 0.00?
10 grams.
Do you think a tooth weighs 10 grams? Well, it's 4 of them.
4 teeth might.
Huh. How much does a tooth weigh, do you think? Can you imagine the tooth fairy's carrying capacity? Well, that begs the question, is she getting everyone's tooth? Like, is it like a Santa Claus thing where she makes like one trip per night, like going around and getting all the teeth in one night? Or is she like going to get the tooth, bringing it back, going like making a discrete trip for every tooth?
It's actually multiple tooth fairies that report back to a tooth demon.
To a tooth what?
A tooth demon.
Demon? Oh no. I didn't know the tooth hierarchy was demonic in nature. Mm-hmm. What are they doing with all those teeth?
So this is actually based off a joke I saw related to D&D where they took there is a creature called a bone devil.
Oh, they're making bone devils. It's the Bone Devil Factory.
Just a themed one.
I do like the tooth dispatch system, though. The idea of like tooth logistics. Oh, do you think when I get mine taken out, do you think I should try putting them under my pillow and see if...
They won't give it to you unless you specifically ask.
I'm going to ask.
You'll also be conscious for this. I was not for mine. So.
Right. I'm not going under for this one. I'm going to be bothering them the whole time.
Oh, okay.
But so since I am having some dental work done this week, I'm going to try to keep it a little bit cash. I'm going to keep it kind of chill this week. But it's also, not only is it I'm getting stuff done to my teeth week, but it is also really close to Halloween.
True.
So since we are so close to Halloween, we are in the Halloween season, I have chosen a very spooky and seasonally appropriate animal for this week.
Oh?
This is the hairy frog.
I don't know if I've ever heard of this.
You might not have. It's a little bit of a more obscure one. You'll see this a lot on very clickbaity sort of... Like, it's on a lot of popular science, like, articles and stuff. Especially around this time of year. This is definitely the time of year when people talk about this frog. Because it has a couple of other names. One of them is the Wolverine frog.
Okay.
Or the horror frog.
Oh, is this the broken bones one?
Sorry. Stop it!
I know too much about Wolverine. I'm sorry.
Well, good. I'm glad that one of us does, because you know what? I'll teach you about the frog. You can teach me about the comic book character.
Okay.
This will be a nice exchange of information.
This feels familiar.
In a couple of ways, it will feel familiar. I'll talk about that more later. But we have talked about a couple of animals on this show that this will feel familiar to. The scientific name is Chytridiomycosis robustus. The species was submitted by very many people, kind of over the years. I just kind of searched the email inbox to see who all has sent this one in over the years. I've got Jeff Trers, Rome Rabelais, Mason Miller, and Anne-Louise Gottlieb. Thank you all for sending this one in. Great suggestion. And I'm getting my information. A lot of this is from an article for Scientific American that was written by Darren Naish, who people may recognize his name. He's the writer of the Tetrapod Zoology blog series. Very, very well known, like paleontologist and zoologist. So he wrote this article on this frog for Scientific American. It's titled Squeakers, Frogs with Claws, Frogs with Hair. And this was last updated in 2016. Oh. But I'm also getting a lot of my information from very specific papers that I'll cite as they come up. Mm-hmm. It is a frog, a proper frog, not quite a toad. Even though taxonomically there is no difference between a frog and a toad. It's just vibes based. The toads are the drier ones. That's all there is to it, really.
One is a culinary term.
It's like being a vegetable, right? Like this is a pretty large frog. They can be up to 5 inches long. And that is how you measure a frog's length is snout to vent, which means tip of the nose to the butt.
Yeah.
To the butt. Yeah. Have you ever heard of like when you're looking at like anatomy descriptions and stuff, things that are called like ventral? That means facing the butt.
I should just say that.
Butt word. The butt word.
The butt fin.
But then it's like, are you talking about the anal fin? Are you talking about the pelvic fin? And like it's yeah. But these frogs are found in Central Africa. They will make themselves at home along forest rivers and fast flowing streams. So they are terrestrial frogs. So they do mostly live outside of the water, but seasonally they do spend more time in the water. They need a lot of access to moisture as other frogs do, but they are terrestrial frogs. And they're in the taxonomic family Arthroleptidae, which are a family of frogs found throughout sub-Saharan Africa. And Darren Naish writes that this group is called squeakers.
Sorry.
By whom? I don't know.
Oh.
But he wrote that they're called squeakers. And he called them squeakers. Which...
They're known to many as this. It's me. I'm
known to me as squeakers. Source me. But this nickname kind of makes sense because I was looking at the taxonomy of these frogs to see if we've talked about any other frogs on this podcast that they might be related to. And of the frogs we've talked about on this show, the one we've talked about that's the closest related to these frogs is the desert rain frog.
Okay.
You remember that one?
I do.
Yeah, that one. I'm pretty sure that one's in our theme music.
Yes.
I think it's got a squeak in there.
Yeah, I think so.
So the squeaker name kind of makes sense a little bit.
Sure.
Except the hairy frog does not squeak. It is a silent frog.
Okay.
It's got enough going on. It has enough happening already. We don't need to add squeaking into the mix. So for anyone who's never listened to this podcast before, our first category rate animals on is effectiveness. This is physical adaptations, things built into the animal's body to let them do a good job of the things they're trying to do. I'm giving the hairy frog a 7 out of 10 for effectiveness. And I'm just going to start off by how these frogs got their name of the hairy frog.
Okay.
Because typically frogs are not hairy.
Right.
That's usually not a thing you associate with frogs. So they do have this very, very unusual trait where during the breeding season, males will sprout what looks like big bushy hair from their sides and their hind legs, particularly on their thighs. So it's kind of like if it's not quite in their armpits. So it's almost like if their whole body had like mutton chops or something.
Okay.
You look perturbed.
Just some guesses going on here.
What along what lines? What are you guessing about?
Is this gill structure related?
You know, I'm glad that you said that because I'll get there in a second,
Okay.
But some people do think that.
Huh.
That's an option.
Okay. Fun.
So the hair on their body is not technically hair.
Okay.
It's not made of keratin like mammal hair is. It's called dermal papillae. So these are just protrusions of skin, but the skin does contain things like blood vessels and tissue. So like blood flows through these hairs, basically.
These are more like skin tags.
You know, I was actually looking up to see if skin tags are dermal papillae.
Oh.
So skin tags are something different. They're called papilloma.
Okay.
I don't know structurally what makes them different, but skin tags are not supposed to be there.
I'm thinking more just in terms it's an extension of skin,
Yes.
not something growing out of the skin.
No, it's like an outcropping
Yeah.
of skin, basically,
Yeah.
that grows into these long filaments.
Huh.
But blood does flow through them, so...
Skin the long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so the fact that it only occurs in males and also only occurs during the breeding season suggests that this trait probably has something to do with the mating process. Because if it was necessary for survival, you would see it in males and females, right?
True.
Because they must not need it to like fully survive. Otherwise, the females would die without it, right? Because the females don't have it. And also, if it was something that was like a year-round thing, they wouldn't only have it during the breeding season. So it must be something that's particular to that process. So there are a lot of guesses, and there have been over the 100 or so years that scientists have been writing about this frog. There have been a lot of guesses as to why they might have these. It's a very unusual structure. It's not seen in any other frog. So there's been a lot of talk about why they might have these. And the most commonly reported one is the one that you pretty much came up with immediately on your own. So the idea, it has to do with something frogs can do, which is called cutaneous respiration. Mm-hmm. So frogs and other amphibians like salamanders can basically breathe through their skin, right? They can take in oxygen through their skin membranes, right? Mm-hmm. So when you look at larval salamanders, which are aquatic, right? They're spending all of their time in the water. They have these external gill structures, which when you look at something like an axolotl, right? Those are those big feathery, structures on the sides of the head. And the reason they have those is because that increases their surface area.
Yes.
So lots of surface area means lots of skin in contact with water, which means lots of opportunities to take oxygen in.
And without adding more tissues that need to be oxygenated. At least not a lot.
Right. Because it's high surface area, low volume.
Yes.
Yeah. So this kind of looks like that. It's just a weird place for it.
Yeah.
It's just a very strange way of doing that. And also another sort of criticism of this hypothesis is that other frogs maximize surface area much more simply by just having more sort of flaps and folds, right? Okay. They have loose baggy skin that has a lot of folds because that's a good way to increase surface area without complicating it to the extent of growing a million little filaments out of your skin.
You know where my mind went first?
Where?
Because of the comparison to the rain frog. This become round.
You could just become an orb.
Be big.
No, isn't that the opposite of what you want, though?
Yeah, I know. Because that's adding a bunch of volume. But
yeah, that's decreasing your surface area to volume ratio.
Yeah, but that's just where it went.
It's approaching 1-to-1. Yeah, so that wouldn't work for the... But other frogs accomplish the same end result simpler. Mm-hmm. So it seems like if it was for that, it would just be a really weird way of doing that.
Sure.
Which is not impossible. It's just weird. And sometimes weird things happen. Uh-huh. That's fine. But another guess is that they could serve some sort of tactile purpose.
Oh.
They could be kind of like whiskers, right? Or barbules or something on things like catfish, right? It could be some sort of tactile thing that's letting them feel what's around them or feel the water around them.
Mm-hmm. What is the density of these little
It looks
filaments?
fully like a mane of hair. It's dense.
I don't like that.
It actually, I'll pull up.
Well, let me tell you what it's making. Okay. It's making me think about.
Okay.
It's made me think, what if every single strand of my hair had a nerve ending in there?
Yeah. I hate that. It really does kind of look like, it has a sort of texture almost of beard hair. This is a picture of one.
Yeah. Huh.
It's thick. It's a luscious mane. So some people think it might be tactile. It could be some way of letting them feel what's the flow of the water around them, akin to whiskers. Or vibrissae on walruses and stuff like that. The whiskers on a walrus.
Oh, okay.
You told me that.
I'm bad with vocab.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Now, and sort of along those same lines, in the same sort of subcategory as being tactile, it could be helping the frogs tell males apart from females by touch. So if it's something like at night where they can't see each other, or maybe the water is really murky, right? If they're in a river with a lot of flowing water, it could be kind of murky. They might not be able to see each other very well. In a sort of low vision setting, it could be a tactile indicator, like on your keyboard. How some keyboards will have little bumps on certain keys that let you know that your hands are in the right position. Mm-hmm. Something like that, basically. So that even when they can't see each other, if it's a male frog and he's going to mate with who he thinks is going to be a female frog, and then he feels that hair.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, oh, my bad.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah. Unless.
What do they call that? Freshening up your beards.
Bruxing. Is that what they call it? Is it bruxing or is it
This is how I'm going to find you in a dark room.
reaching for my beard?
No, just gonna rub my chin up on anyone I walk into.
Brustling, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, I think so.
Bruxing is what rats do when they're happy. That was why I got confused. It's where they grind their teeth together.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe that's an interspecific communication between the hairy frogs. Maybe they size each other up by rubbing face. It's not even like a beard, right? Because it's like on their legs. So they just rub thigh beards.
More of a hip bump.
Yeah. They grind up on each other. Now, a recent hypothesis within the last, this was in 2010, is that it could be actually helping protect them from each other when they fight. So it could be kind of protecting some of those organs in the midsection, and it could be why it emerges during the breeding season when they would be more aggressive towards each other. Because maybe it's a layer of protection that helps them during that time of year, but they don't need it outside of that.
How are frogs going to fight? Does it have to do with the other
glad
part
you
of this?
asked. Yeah, it sure does.
Okay. What are they protecting from?
Glad you asked. But before
Yes.
I get there, I would like to cite the paper I read this information from. The self-protection hypothesis that was from. And also a lot of these, the information about these sort of past hypotheses and stuff, I got also from this paper. It's called The Hairy Frog, a Curly Fighter, a novel hypothesis on the function of hairs and claw-like terminal phalanges, including their biological and systematic significance. That was by Michael F. Beret et al. In the Swiss Journal of Zoology in June of 2010. Now, the title of this paper, I don't get it. The first part of the title is The Hairy Frog, a Curly Fighter? ?
I don't know.
Is that what?
Is this might be a term for from a sport of some sort?
I Googled it.
No?
Nothing. Nothing came up. And then I was thinking, this is from the Swiss Journal of Zoology. Maybe it's like a French pun that just doesn't come across when you do a direct translation. The best I could think of is that the French word for curly is bouclé. And there's a type of shield fighting called a buckler.
Yes.
It comes from the French word boucle, which means a shield. So I was wondering if maybe it's a pun. That the word for shield fighting sounds like the word for curly. I do not get it. If this is a pun that makes sense to someone else, I am very sorry. Please let me know. Please explain the joke to me, because if this is a joke, I do not get it. And I wish I did, because I bet it's funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, as you were asking about what are they protecting themselves from, how do frogs fight? I don't know if anyone's ever seen frogs try to run up on each other, but it is pitiful. It's nothing. They are basically just kind of grappling, and that's it. But these have another tool in their kit. So when they are threatened, these frogs can deploy claws. The toes on their hind legs, it's their hind legs, not their front ones, are equipped with these hooked bones. And inside of their toes, the bones connect by collagen to something called a nodule, which is another piece of bone that is kind of, in this case, it acts kind of like a cap on the end. It's like a pen cap almost. So it attaches with collagen to the front of this hook-shaped bone. So when the frog is threatened, they can break the bone off of that nodule, sever the collagen and break the bone off, letting the bone pierce through the skin on the bottom of the toe and emerge as this very sharp cat claw-like point. And it's sticking straight out the bottom of the toe, like a cleat. Not like a cat's claw, how it sticks out the front, right? Most claws stick out the front. This is straight out the bottom.
Is this halfway up the toe or something?
It's right at the end.
Okay.
But it is sharp. It will draw blood. If you're trying to handle one of these frogs and they get their claws out, it will do some serious damage to you. Yeah. They can and will defend themselves this way. People who hunt and eat them, in the areas where they're found, have to hunt them with long, ranged weapons, basically. You have to hunt them with a long spear or something, because otherwise, if you try to handle them, they're going to fight back.
Now, to be fair, that is how frog gigging works with even normal bullfrogs. But
tell me more. You ever caught a frog?
Yeah. I've never told you about this?
No.
I did a good bit of frog gigging in my youth.
Oh, you have told me about this. Oh, but okay, but pretend you haven't. For the people listening who aren't married to you and haven't did you forget we were recording a podcast right now?
No. I thought you meant pretend I didn't in terms of being oh wow, that's interesting. I've never heard of that before.
Oh. No.
Okay. Not getting
No,
it now.
explain it for people who haven't talked to you for like a cumulative 2 million hours.
Yeah. So frog gigging is
Gigging is the
yes,
word you're saying?
it is.
Interesting.
Is basically hunting frogs for the purpose of eating them.
Did you eat them?
Yes.
How were they?
They're good. Primarily the legs, so to make frog legs.
Oh, so you had told me you had eaten frog legs before, but I didn't know they were like self-caught.
Uh-huh.
I didn't connect the dots between like catching frogs and eating frogs and the sort of farm to table.
I think there are places where you can buy them.
Sure.
Just frog legs,
Yeah.
ready to go. But the easiest way to do that is with a spear of some sort. And
Did you do that with a spear?
Yeah.
Where'd you get a spear?
Just make it like a big old stick.
Where did you make a spear?
This is part of my youth where I spent a lot of time camping and that the young Marines and all that.
Right.
So spent a lot of time camping and wilderness stuff at that point in my childhood. So the idea was walk along the shore of a pond at night with a flashlight because their eyes reflect light like most animals. So you can see them easier, and then you use the spear to catch them.
Okay, Bear Grylls over here. All right.
So anyway, it makes total sense that they would do it for these, especially because in addition to being probably difficult to catch, you don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, no, they will fight. Like they will like draw blood. It is not good. You do not want to get scratched by these things because they will tear at you. So what the person who wrote that paper about, like that was like suggesting the hypothesis that the hair is protective, was also suggesting that the hair and the claws could have both evolved together, like in tandem with each other. How they evolved the claws to fight each other and the hair to protect themselves from each other's claws. That the two things could be like related to each other.
Interesting.
There's also some suggestion that the claws could be for helping with grip, like helping them grip onto surfaces. But if so, it would be an extremely costly way of doing that. Like it wouldn't be the sort of thing you would have to like deploy every time, right? Like you would want that to be just like a built-in, like a rough pad or something like that.
Do both males and females do the claw thing?
I think it's only the males that do the hair,
Okay.
that develop the hair. But I think the females do have claws as well.
Okay.
So it does seem to be mostly for self-defense, like defending themselves, whether from each other or from other things that could be trying to eat them.
Well, you mentioned that the theory it could be for grabbing something. And if it were males only, then...
Oh, it could be like a...
reproduction aspect.
For amplexus.
Oh, that's a nice word.
That's the word for the position that frogs reproduce in.
Ah.
So another thing about this is that, like I mentioned, you know, the claws are normally not out. They're normally like in their sort of at rest state. They are fully within the toe. And every time they want to use the claws as claws, they have to, you know, break this bone apart. A lot of like articles and stuff will describe this as they have to break their bones every time. And it's like, yes, they are breaking a bone, but it is at a designated place meant for that bone to break. So It's more like they're like severing a collagen bond. It's not like they're fracturing a bone every single time. It's not like that. That would be very different.
Sure.
But this is like they do kind of separate a bone. But what they are doing is puncturing, like cutting through the skin every single time. Because amphibians, like frogs and salamanders, are really well known for their regenerative capabilities. They're very, very good at healing, right? This is why axolotls and other types of salamanders are often used in like research, like medical research, because they're so good at like regenerating parts of their body. So amphibians are really, really good at this. They heal very, very quickly. So every time those claws go back in, the skin heals back over, which means every time they want to use their claws, they have to re-pierce their skin every single time.
Yeah.
Just like
Wolverine.
Just like Wolverine.
Yes.
Which I didn't know until you told me. Because the reason this probably sounds familiar is that we talked about this with the Iberian ribbed newt.
Ah, okay.
Which is a type of salamander that does something very, very similar where it like erupts its rib bones out through like its skin. And very similarly, it does heal over and have to like re-pierce the skin every time.
So that's one similarity. Another one is that Wolverine's claws were originally just bone.
Oh, were they?
Yes.
They're metal now,
Yes.
right?
So his actual mutant powers included very fast healing.
Oh, healing was his power?
Yeah.
Oh.
And these bone claws that come out of his wrists, or technically they sit in his forearms and they come out his like in between his knuckles.
Right.
And then stuff around like being able to track and smell and that kind of thing. Real good. And then later he had the metal added to his skeleton, including to his claws. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems... Isn't there a whole guy whose deal is...
Yeah.
Isn't there a guy in that exact series whose like entire advantage is over metal?
Yeah,
like
that's
things
his
made
whole
of metal.
thing. Yeah.
So why? What would possess you to be like, you know what? I'm gonna add metal to my body, which I don't need to do.
So this goes into more lore than I am familiar with, but another thing I remember, because of his healing properties, Logan, his normal name, is very old. He's like hundreds of years old.
Oh.
So I want to say the metal was added in the 1970s, around there, like in the timeline.
Sure.
So I don't know where Magneto was at that time or if he was
not important yet.
But so Logan got the metal added as part of like a military project.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Interesting.
Which actually ties into Deadpool in the movie.
I was thinking like the healing thing I thought was a Deadpool thing, but then I didn't remember if Deadpool was
It's similar.
in this. Well, I don't know if he's in this universe
He
or
is.
not. Oh, okay.
He is. Deadpool is part of Marvel and such.
Yeah, but I never know like which Marvel goes into which movies. I don't know which guys go in which. I don't know. Does Spider-Man know these guys? I don't know.
Well, it also doesn't help that Deadpool is like the character of the Marvel universe that, you know, is always
That's
breaking
true.
the fourth wall.
Yeah.
And,
He can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
That's fine.
so yeah, similar there. So
You know what's another similarity that Wolverine has with this frog?
What?
They're hairy.
Oh yeah, he does have like mutton chops. So
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's the sideburns.
I wonder which one came first now.
Are you saying? Are you suggesting that this frog species evolved
No.
into being after the introduction of Wolverine, the comic book character?
I just saw Hugh Jackman on the big screen and just evolution took it.
Evolution was like, write that down.
No, I mean, was the design of the character before or after the, I guess, broad discovery of this frog?
You know, this frog has been like scientifically documented and like like I was mentioning, like some of the hypotheses about like the function and like purpose of these traits have been discussed since like 1912, 1913. But I wouldn't say it was like mainstream.
Sure.
It wasn't like, because even still now, I feel like it's like a more obscure animal. I would say the average person has never heard of this frog.
Yeah. That's probably coincidence, I suppose.
Yeah, it's almost certainly a complete coincidence, but it is interesting that there are like so many similarities, right? Yeah, so I'm glad that you were here to fill in some blanks on the Wolverine lore, because as established previously, I've never seen an X-Men. Is he in the X-Men? Is he an X-Man?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Thank goodness.
I would say that's probably Hugh Jackman's first big role that kind of put him on the scene.
Hugh Jackman?
Yeah.
You think that was his first role?
His first big role, yeah.
Really?
Look up when the first X-Men movie came out real quick.
I thought he was... I just typed in hi Jackman. Like, there's got to be something there. Dang, you're right. Jackman landed his breakthrough role as Wolverine, playing it across... from 2000. Dang. It's funny because since I never watched any of the X-Men movies or anything like that, like, that was completely outside of my, like, vision.
I saw that movie in a drive-thru.
What? You mean a drive-in?
Yeah, a drive-in movie theater.
Can you imagine a drive-through movie theater where each car has to stop at a drive-through window for 2.5 hours? But how convenient would that popcorn be? Oh, you get refills the whole time. It would be great. Oh, I forgot to cite that paper. The paper that I learned about their claws from was called Concealed Weapons, Erectile Claws in African Frogs. This is by David C. Blackburn et al. In Biology Letters in May of 2008. So, I obviously am giving them points in effectiveness for having these claws because it's a really cool thing to have. They're really useful. But I am taking some points away because it just seems like a terrible workaround to have to rip through your skin every time, like commit or don't. Because claws have been done in a lot of animals.
Yeah.
And not in a way that causes them to inflict piercing damage upon themselves every time they use it. This seems like the worst way to do it. You know what I mean? It's been done every single time claws have been done. They've been done better than this. This is the worst application of the claw concept.
I just remembered the other fictional character we talked about with the salamander.
What?
It's a Naruto character.
Okay, great. Is it a Naruto ripoff of Wolverine?
No, well... There's a person that fights with their bones, but
oh, that's cool.
But rips out their own spine to start using it as a weapon.
Oh, that's way cooler.
So they kind of take it a couple notches a little bit further.
Yeah, they're committing way more to the bit. So they rip out their spine, and they themselves are totally fine and unaffected.
Oh, they're regrowing the bones instantly. Basically.
Oh, that rules. That's great.
And they also shoot the tips of their fingers like bullets.
Ooh. This also kind of reminds me of this book called Gideon the Ninth. It's a fantasy sci-fi novel series. It's really grimdark and hardcore. It's cool though. But it's all about necromancers. And, there's a character who, because she can control bones, so she has them scurry around and do her bidding and stuff. She can summon skeletons and stuff. It was really cool.
That's cool.
Do you think that hairy frogs found out that cats and other mammals and stuff have claws that they can just sort of comfortably retract and deploy effortlessly all day long with no repercussions at all? And do you think when hairy frogs found out about that, they were like, what? That was an option?
Maybe they're on their way to that.
We should have done that.
Who knows? Let's check in a million years.
Yeah. Give them a couple millis. And we'll check back in and see. Literally, just all it would take would just be a little slit in the skin in that one spot. Yeah. That's all it would take. Just a notch. My kingdom for a notch. Mm-hmm. I think it is weird that this is not the frog that is commonly called the Freddy Krueger frog.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember? It was Budget's frog that's called the Freddy Krueger frog. The It Is Wednesday, My Dudes one. The big round looking goober of a frog.
Why again? I forget.
I was even thinking this because I was like, this should definitely be the Freddy Krueger one, right? Because Freddy Krueger has Wolverine claws, basically, right? Not exactly the same, but he's got
gloves.
Whatever, scissor hands. He's got them. And so I was like, that's a pretty clear 1-to-1. This should be the Freddy Krueger frog. But the Budget's frog was called the Freddy Krueger frog. And apparently they were called that just because they're kind of mean.
Huh.
I'm like, okay, but there's so many dudes who are kind of mean. Why did you go with Freddy Krueger for this one?
I bet it was a timing thing. Maybe that was when the movie had just come out or something.
Yeah, it was for SEO.
What's that?
Search engine optimization. It's
I don't think they had that at the time, babe.
Oh, okay. I was about to explain what SEO is to you. I thought you legitimately did not know. I was like, oh, I'm glad you asked.
I didn't, but then once you explained it, I think
you were pulling the cord on that conversation immediately. You're like, get me out of here. Let's take a quick break to hear from our friends on the Max Fun Network and we get back.
I do still have one question for this section.
Okay. So
you mentioned the hair is in cycles. It comes and goes.
Yes.
How does it go?
Just goes away.
How?
I imagine.
Does it slough off? Does it shrink back into it?
I hope
That's
not.
what I'm talking about.
I don't know. This didn't come up in my notes. I have to imagine that it just kind of shrinks back into the body, reabsorbs, I guess, into the body. But then you're right. What happens to all that loose skin? Maybe frogs molt in some way. That you know what? Frogs do shed. They do like shed like an outer layer. It's not quite like reptiles, but they do like a shedding sort of thing. So it's probably something like that. You've talked about a frog that slothed before, right? Was it the Suriname toad?
Maybe.
Or was it Budget's frog? You've talked about a frog I remember the word sloth. Because I feel like you love the word sloth.
I do, but not specifically the amphibians.
So I do think it is sloughing, actually. So I think they are like shedding. I think they are shedding a layer of skin.
Huh. Yucky.
Yeah, yucky. What a great question. I clearly didn't think to ask it while I was doing my notes.
You didn't come across these papers that said icky and yucky.
Yucky, gross, ew. Because of like how scientific paper titles are, the first part of the title would be like yucky, ew, gross, nasty, and then it would be like cutaneous shedding of an amphibian in Central Africa.
Varying font sizes and capitalizations.
All right, let's take a quick break to hear from our friends on the Max Fun Network, and then we'll talk about ingenuity, aesthetics, and conservation for these frogs.
Moving is the worst.
Yeah, but it's exciting too. Our new Max Fun HQ office in downtown LA is actually going to fit all of us in it.
Oh.
And the new studio is going to be so nice. Plus, we'll have space for hangouts and events.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be worth it, but boy, is it expensive. Maybe we can get some help.
Hey, cool listener. If you want to get fun stuff and help us move, go to MaximumFun.org/Moving Day, where you can get vintage merch or buy naming rights to stuff around the office. If you help us move by buying something, we'll invite you over for pizza and beer at our new place. MaximumFun.org/Moving Day.
If you want to know what's going on in the world of movies, you should be listening to Maximum Film so we can tell you all about it.
Okay, but what if you already know what's going on in the world of movies? What if you're kind of obsessed with movies? Like maybe you have a problem?
Well, then you should definitely be listening to Maximum Film, because we too have that problem, and it's important you know you're not alone.
We're talking indies you'll want to seek out.
Blockbusters and blockbusting wannabes.
Classics we can't get enough of.
I'm comedian and writer Kevin Avery.
I'm film critic Alonzo Duralde.
I'm festival programmer and producer Drea Clark.
Together, we're Maximum Film. Smart about movies in Hollywood, so you don't have to be.
But if you already are, that's also great. And hey, we see you.
New episodes every week on MaximumFun.org.
All right, so for anyone who has not listened to this podcast before, our next category is ingenuity. These are behaviors, things the animal is doing with their body to navigate their world, solve problems they face. I'm giving them a 4 out of 10 for ingenuity, and this is mostly based on what I know about frogs, which is that I've heard frogs generously described as a mouth with legs. They just really exist purely to sort of propel themselves towards food, and that's really it.
I'll fight my enemies with my broken bones.
I've never met a frog with more than 2 brain cells to rub together. Like you just look into those little eyes and you just know there's not a lot happening in there. The only thing that I could find that was like even unique about their behavior. So I mentioned that these frogs are terrestrial until the breeding season, which is when they spend a lot more time in the water. So they go into these rivers and fast flowing streams and stuff. And they go there to mate and lay their eggs. Now, after they have laid their eggs, the females lay their eggs, like stick them on a rock and they leave. They're like, we're done here. She's out. The male stays behind and guards the eggs and like protects them for a while. So he's actually staying behind in the water to like protect the eggs.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I feel like I haven't heard of a lot of other like amphibians that do that. But anyway, that is actually a suggestion for why people think that the hair must be serving some sort of respiratory purpose.
Sure.
Because the males are the ones spending more time in the water, which means that they would benefit from those external gill structures because they would be the ones that would need to be taking in more air while they're in the water.
I'm assuming the cycle of the hair lines up with them being in the water?
Yes,
Okay.
it's during the breeding season.
Okay.
So the hair goes away after that season.
Okay.
So that's one of the big reasons why people think it's for a respiratory purpose, because it would be particularly useful in the water, and the males are the ones spending time in the water.
Huh.
So that lines up pretty well. So that's really the only thing I could give them for ingenuity. That was all I could really find, is that the males stay behind to watch the eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really seem to be the strong point of this animal. Now, aesthetics. This is the last category we rate animals on. I'm giving them a 9 out of 10. This is a really nice looking frog. They have a sort of like bullfrog, leopard frog sort of look to them. You know, they're very angular. They're a big frog, chunky frog. They got a heft to them. Also, they have this sort of overripe banana coloration where they're like, they've got a lot of yellow, but they also have these big brown splotches on them. That's like, it's giving overripe banana, which is the best kind of banana. When they're just like a little bit too ripe, that's like the best kind of banana. When they're just shy of banana bread. Like, also, like, in a lot of the pictures that you'll find of these online, this doesn't come through because a lot of the pictures are of preserved specimens where they're like either taxidermied or they're like wet preserved. They're like in a jar or something like that. So you don't get to see this in a lot of pictures, but if you see a photo of one that's alive, you can see that the hair is like bright red. It's just really stunning. Like, it has this like really bright red color that's very like eye-catching. It looks like red, sort of like algae or like seagrass or something you might see in like a big pond or something. Just has a really nice like red hair look.
Is that coloration from the blood?
I think it is. I would imagine so. But it looks cool. Whatever it's from, it looks nice.
Yeah.
It's a good looking frog. It's pretty cool. Now, to wrap up with conservation. So the IUCN Red List lists the species as least concern but decreasing. So they're not currently in a category of particular conservation concern, but they're on the decline. So they could be in one of those categories soon.
Some
or
concern.
Yes. Potential for concern because of the downward trend. And also, there's just not a lot of population data on these frogs. So it's just not 100% known how they're really doing. But the IUCN Red List does also attribute their decreasing popularity, first of all, to declining water quality and habitat loss. So a lot of their habitat is being converted either for agriculture use, for logging, for residential areas. So they're losing a lot of natural habitat. But also, like I mentioned earlier, frogs have very permeable skin. So basically, like, the water around them is going to soak into their body really easily, which means that frogs are very sensitive to water quality. So if the water in their waterways is really polluted, if there's a lot of runoff or if there's a lot of pollution, the frogs will feel it first because it just seeps right into their body. So they're threatened by the water quality around them. They are also just directly hunted by people, though that seems to be a secondary cause. Like that is a secondary concern.
Sure.
They're eaten. They're good eats. There's a big frog, there's good meat on them.
Yeah.
They're also used as medicine. So in a lot of places where they live, they're believed to be a treatment for infertility. So this is like a traditional medicine sort of thing where they're hunted for that. And in recent years, their popularity has actually been a little bit ticking up in the pet trade.
Really?
Which I didn't know because I had never heard of one of these being kept as like a pet or in captivity. But as I was like poking around a little bit for like info on these frogs, I did see some people discussing it. Really, most of what I saw was people posting like why you shouldn't get one of these as a pet. I think I've listed a few great reasons.
Sure.
I even watched this one video where someone said like, hey, instead of getting one of these, you should get the Iberian ribbed newt that I talked about. But also, like, if you do see one in the pet trade, it is probably harvested from the wild, which is harmful on like wild populations. But they are increasingly collected to be sold alive for the pet trade. And there's actually a really good paper on not just how people are interacting with their frogs, but like their role in sort of like local folklore and culture and like the attitudes that people have towards these frogs. And the paper is called The Importance of Frogs to the Livelihood of the Bakosi People Around Mount Monongoba in Cameroon, with special consideration of the hairy frog Trichobatrachus robustus. That's by Legrand Nono Gonwo and Mark Oliver Rodell from the journal Salamandra in February of 2008. And I thought this was a really useful paper because the author is from Cameroon. And like the takeaway being, how can we allow people to retain their like traditional customs in a sustainable way that's like in balance. Because as you know, people are harvesting the frogs more and more, and the frogs are being like threatened by all these other factors, you're seeing frogs be like locally exterminated. So like people have to go farther and farther to find the frogs because all the frogs are gone from their local like rivers and streams. So people have to go people were having to walk, you know, hours or days to go find a river where they could find these frogs. So basically the focus of the paper was on like, we need to like understand the relationship that local people have to the frogs so that we can allow people to continue their practices in a way that's like sustainable and not going to like harm the overall population of the frogs. I thought it was important that that paper was actually authored by a person from that place, which you do not see as often as you should in scientific papers. You see a lot of like parachute science where people like from particularly Western European nations will like come in and like write a bunch of papers and stuff on an area and then be like, all right, thanks for all your information. Deuces. Oh. See you again. See you later. And then they just leave and like they never see any benefit from that ever. I see. But this is like a person who like lives there and was, you know, giving a lot of insight into the community, which I thought was a really interesting paper.
Yeah.
The species is also believed to be vulnerable to something I don't think we've talked about on the show before, but we definitely should. It's a disease called Chytridiomycosis.
Wow.
Have you ever heard of this?
I don't think so.
Chytridiomycosis is a disease caused by contagious microscopic fungi, and it spreads by swimming through the water. So this is like a microscopic fungus that just free swims through the water, and it is highly, highly contagious, particularly to amphibians.
Interesting.
An infection of Chytridiomycosis is usually fatal. And it has led to the mass mortality of over 500 frog species all over the world and the extinction of at least 90 species.
Wow.
So you're seeing this like biodiversity collapse of amphibians just because of this one disease that's caused by 2 species of fungus that have really long names that I'm not going to try to pronounce. But all you need to know is that they're called chytrid. Like there's you can shorten it to chytrid. So it's a chytrid fungus. According to a 2019 study, they say this represents the greatest documented loss of biodiversity attributable to a pathogen, and places B. dendrobatidis among the most destructive invasive species, comparable to rodents, threatening 420 species, and cats, threatening 430 species. Losses associated with Chytridiomycosis are orders of magnitude greater than for other high-profile wildlife pathogens, such as white nose syndrome in bats or West Nile virus in birds. So basically, this is like Frogageddon. It's just a sort of amphibian apocalypse that I really never really hear anyone talking about. It's really surprising, I think. Once it like infects a waterway, it is nigh impossible to get rid of it. Like it is just going to run its course. There's very little that can be done about it once it is in a waterway. So the best you can do is try to prevent the spread of it, like try to control the spread of chytrid fungus from like one body of water to the other. One thing you can do is, first of all, try to avoid moving amphibians. Like try to not release a captive amphibian. Like if you have one in captivity, try not to release it. Or also if you see one in the wild, try not to relocate it to a new body of water. So like just try not to like move a frog from one pond to another. Because if there's any chytrid on it, you could be introducing chytrid to a new body of water. And another thing is that if you're going into natural bodies of water, so things like lakes, ponds, rivers, things like that, just disinfect your shoes, clothes, gear, boat, anything that's like going into the water. Just try to like wash it, disinfect it, stuff like that, so that you're avoiding the spread of, and that's not just for chytrid fungus, that's for like, you know, there could be invasive, zebra mussels and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of things that could get on your boat or your gear or your clothes or your shoes that you might not necessarily see with your eyes, but they could lead to infecting a new body of water. So, you know, this Halloween, remember, there's nothing spookier than biodiversity loss.
Yes. Now, is this the kind of thing that is getting worse with climate change?
I don't know. So the paper I was reading was from 2019.
Okay.
I don't know how climate change has affected that, but it can't be good.
Sure.
It's never good, is it?
Well, my
Can't be helping.
The thought went there from, of course, Last of Us and that kind of thing. It was like, oh, the fungus has evolved to be able to withstand a higher temperature. That whole thing.
Oh yeah. Because the idea being that like funguses can't survive like high temperatures. That's an idea about why mammals all tend to have body temperatures that average over like 98 to 99 degrees is because any lower than that in like more funguses can survive. So like that's the temperature that most fungi die off at. Except for opossums. Opossums have a lower body temperature, which I think is maybe why they can't get rabies.
I think that plays a part of the logic, at least. I don't recall how true it was.
Yeah, I remember listening to like a Radiolab episode or something not too long ago on how like warming temperatures are like making certain types of fungi. Like we're getting new types of fungi that are now able to like infect people that weren't before because of rising global temperatures.
Well,
fun note to end on.
Should have saved the sloth question for this part.
Oh, that's true. Well, I mean, what's more fitting for a Halloween episode than some deep existential horror and dread? Do you want to do a palate cleanser? A fun Halloween bit? We could talk about what the kids are going to be for Halloween.
Okay.
Finley's going to be a creeper.
From Minecraft, yes.
He's so excited about it. It's so cute. He's got a little Halloween creeper costume.
He's been real big into Minecraft past close to a year now.
You're welcome. It has not been close to a year.
No?
No, it's been like a few months maybe.
I'm just kidding. But the movie had a lot to do with that. Big fan of the movie with Jack Black in it.
Right, which I'm pretty sure came out this year.
Yeah. I had a hand in that. I'm a Jack Black fan myself.
See, I'm a true Minecraft fan.
Oh.
Because I play the game a lot more than an adult should. So Finley's going to be a creeper. That's going to be really cute. And Isaac has a 6-foot-tall inflatable dragon costume that he's really excited about. And I think it's going to be really fun. I'm excited about that because it's going to be really easy to see where he is when we're walking around the neighborhood in the dark.
Yes. And the inflatable costumes are very popular right now.
I'm so excited about it. I think it's going to be a fun year.
Yes.
So I hope everyone stays safe and has a fun time. Have a happy Halloween. I guess we're not going to do a co-hosted episode between now and Halloween, so this will count as the Halloween episode, I suppose. And wish me luck on getting my teeth extracted.
Yes.
Although by the time anyone hears this, it'll be too late. Hope it went good.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody who spent this time learning about animals with us. If you liked what you heard, I would love it if you could leave behind some kind words for us in a review on your podcast app of choice. Oh, you can come hang out with us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord. I've been posting a lot of videos on Instagram recently. So a lot of it is the same content that we talk about in the podcast, but sometimes I go like into more detail about things that we don't really dig into on the podcast. So it could be you can learn something new over there sometimes. So follow us on social media. You can also send me an email at ellen@justthezooofus.com if you have a cool animal you'd like to hear us talk about on the show. Head over to MaximumFun.org if you want to learn more about the network and their other shows, plus how you can be a part of supporting our show and get access to our exclusive monthly bonus episodes. And finally, we'd like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music, which is great and lovely and wonderful.
Yes, very much.
And that's all for this week. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye now.
Thanks, bye.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
directly
by you.